Hold on. You still haven't decided on the conflict and the scale yet? Then stop writing your plot. Watch this first. Hey everyone, I'm Zaklis, a D&D Dungeon Master and World Builder. I've seen this mistake in DMs. They use conflict and scale, of course, but they rarely treat them as actual design steps. They just happen spontaneously, half-formed, and barely considered. We've already defined the world's identity, the story's shape, and its vibe. Now it's time to define the problem inside that world and its magnitude. Conflict is the central tension your campaign is built around. Not the plot, not yet, but the type of problem that your plot will be built on. The tricky part here is to pick the right type of conflict that fits your designated setting, genre, and tone. Let me give you some examples. A political conflict in a capital where factions, nobles, and guilds are fighting over power and influence pairs nicely with a high fantasy setting, an espionage genre, and a serious or suspenseful tone. Or a religious conflict with schisms, cults, doctrines, and forbidden beliefs fits rather well with a mythic world, an epic genre, and a dark tone. I could go on and on. There are many combinations. It's like character creation, but for DMs. And by the way, these aren't rules, they're just natural fits. You can mix them however you want, as long as there is some logic behind them. Here's a bunch more conflict examples for you to use, like mystical, territorial, and those ones too. Cool. Okay, I think that's enough. Once you know your conflict, you have to decide how big it is. And yes, the conflict itself somewhat determines the scale, and that's part of the point. They're all connected. But scale is a bit more than that. It also determines how far the consequences of this conflict will reach. And just like the conflict, the scale also has natural fits with the choices you already made so far. Say your conflict is magical imbalance. At rural scale, the crops are dying and the forest spirits are restless. At regional scale, ley lines are warping and towns are disappearing. At a continental scale, entire schools of magic collapse and nations panic. Same conflict, different scale, different story and campaign. There's also urban scale, which fits noir mysteries, political dramas, and crime-heavy settings, and global scale, which is mainly in apocalypse, prophecy, fate of everything territory. Again, none of these are hard rules, but if you pick something that is miles off, everything else feels off. A tiny village horror with the save the world stakes seems absurd, unless you have a good reason. Here's some more in addition to the big five I just mentioned. Conflict tells you what the world is struggling with. Scale tells you how big that struggle is and how far it's reaching. Once you know these two, the factions, the plots, the quests you create will be much more elegant. And thus, the foundation of our campaign design is complete. Now it's time for you to show off your combos in the comments. The next step is the skeleton of the campaign, so subscribe and stay tuned.